vendors by rewarding security researchers, CDI is a unique program. It incorporates the global community of independent researchers, augmenting our own internal research organization with additional zero-day vulnerability research and exploit intelligence. CDI is also a top supplier of bug reports
Hey everyone, welcome back to PWN2OWN Tokyo, live from Toronto. We are ready for our first attempt of the contest, and it is the team from Star Labs. They will be targeting the LAN interface on the Netgear Nighthawk R7800 router. At stake, $5,000 and 1 point towards Master of PWN. Again, the one who has the most Master of PWN points, the trophy. And I forgot to mention earlier, that also gets them instant platinum status for ZDI for 2021. And that on its own is worth a lot. So really looking forward to this first attempt. I've heard of some great things about it. So I'll toss it over to our folks in Toronto who are actually going to run the attempt. Abdul, I hand it over to you.
Go. Oh, all right.
All right.
Nice.
That was pretty fast, right? All right. Kevin, if you want to show this up. Good.
Can we take a look at the screen?
Yeah, we can take a look at the screen now.
Yeah, you guys can.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Screen. The screen share. Actually, just take up the laptop and, yeah, the desktop, please. Yeah, there we go. UID 0 equals root. So that is a successful demonstration.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
So congratulations, guys. That's a great first. That's a great way to kick off PWN2OWN Tokyo for 2020. Now, what they'll do is they'll actually go to a different room and they will get with Star Labs. They'll confirm everything, make sure that it is truly an O day.
Okay.
And then they'll also deconflict with Netgear and make sure that they're not aware of it. And what they'll do is they'll actually go to
Vincent.
So that was great. That's a great way to start a contest with a successful demonstration. Like I said, they'll now go to the disclosure room and provide all of the details of the exploit they used. We'll make sure that it's not a duplicate of a previously known exploit. And then once it's confirmed, that'll be a success, $5,000, 1 point to them. And then we will notify Netgear. Then Netgear is able to go ahead and start working on a patch for that. Our next contest, next entry will be at noon Eastern time, and that's the Trappist security team targeting the Western Digital MyCloud Pro Series PR4100. That'll be the first of our NASs that we take a look at. And so we'll see you then. In the meantime, stick around. We'll have a couple videos, and we have an interview with Brian Gorence coming up at 11. So we look forward to seeing you then. Hello, everyone. Welcome to PWN2OWN 2020. I'm Dustin Childs with the Zero Day Initiative, and today I'm coming to you from our Mid-South headquarters, also known as my home office. With the COVID-19 coronavirus affecting so many people and so many different institutions, this year's competition will be held completely virtually. So we have contestants and ZDI researchers all around the world, and they will come together on a video call for each attempt. Everyone participating has already sent in their exploits to us. So when the time comes, the ZDI researcher will run the exploit with the contestant watching online. So for this year's contest, we have 6 different groups set to run 7 different attempts, 4 today and 3 tomorrow. As a special treat, at the end of day 2, ZDI's Lucas Leong will be demonstrating his own exploit against Oracle VirtualBox. So that'll be at the end of day 2, so be sure to stay to tune in for that as well. Our day began with some PWN2OWN newcomers, a team from the Georgia Tech System Software and Security Lab. They were targeting the Apple Safari web browser with a macOS kernel escalation of privilege.
All right, I'm gonna launch Safari now.
You nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They chained together a total of 6 unique bugs, starting with the JIT vulnerability and ending with the Toctile race condition to escape the sandbox and pop a root shell.
Nice.
It will spawn the kernel shell too. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
look at that.
Nice.
All right. Nice, you guys.
Their smooth demonstration earned them $70,000 and 7 points towards Master of PWN.
I think it's a kind of dream, right? Like for participating in PWN2OWN. We feel like it is kind of like a festival for hackers. Like we
Yes.
can meet like some other famous hackers, and we want to talk with them, and we want to discuss with you guys. Maybe we can have beer. Thank you. We really enjoy this, and we are really, happy to achieve our old dream to participate in PWN2OWN. Yeah, we really love it.
Next up, PWN2OWN veteran Fluorescence set his sights on Microsoft Windows 10. Surprising absolutely no one, he used a use-after-free bug in Windows to escalate privileges from a regular user to administrator.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, pop.
There we go.
Nice.
Very nice. Yay.
This slick demonstration earned him $40,000 and 4 points towards Master of PWN.
I'm really happy that PWN2OWN is able to take place even in these crazy circumstances.
So what made you decide to go after an LPE in Windows 10?
I think that Windows is a target that I like doing. So yeah, it's personal preference.
Our third attempt of the day saw another PWN2OWN rookie take the field. Manfred Paul of the Red Rocket CTF team chose to target the Ubuntu desktop with a local privilege escalation exploit.
All right. Starting the clock. Woo! All right. Look at that.
Nice.
Congratulations.
He leveraged an improper input validation bug to go from a standard user to root.
Nice work.
Nice and clean.
So clean.
His first foray into the world of PWN2OWN earned him $30,000 and 3 points towards Master of PWN.
What was it that led you to decide to participate in PWN2OWN?
Well, basically I had this bug and I didn't know what else to do with it. I didn't initially plan on participating, but now that remote participation was possible, it was basically a very easy decision to make. I really hope to participate and be able to find new bugs.
The first day of PWN2OWN 2020 ended with the returning fluoroacetate duo of Amat Kama and Richard Zhu ready to defend their Master of PWN crown.
Yep, ready.
All right.
They leveraged a UAF in Windows to escalate from a regular user to system. And yes, this was a different UAF than the one used earlier in the day.
Boom. Yay! Yay!
This final entry of day 1 earned them $40,000 and 4 points towards Master of Pwn.
I like to add like a 5-minute sleep before.
Don't do that. Just to make it more dramatic, right?
That wraps up the first day of Pwn2OWN 2020. Even when we're physically separated by thousands of miles, we're brought together by some great research and exploit demonstrations. Join us tomorrow for our second and final day of the contest. As with today, we'll be tweeting and updating the blog with results as they occur. We'll see you then. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Day 2 of Pwn2OWN 2020. I'm Dustin Childs of the Zero Day Initiative. We have 3 attempts and 1 special demonstration on the schedule today, plus we have to crown a Master of Pwn. Let's get to it. Our day began with returning Pwn2OWN veteran Fifam Hong of Star Labs targeting Oracle VirtualBox.
All right. Let's run it. Ready? Yep.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
It took all 3 attempts for a successful demonstration, but his 3rd attempt did work like a charm.
There you go. There we go.
Nice. All right.
Gosh.
Ah, man. So much drama.
He combined an info leak and an uninitialized variable to execute code on the host operating system from the guest.
Making dramatic in them.
This earned him $40,000 and 4 points towards Master of Pwn.
I have to say that I am a bit afraid that the exploit will not work in the first 2 attempts, so it finally is worked. So I'm happy now.
Did you have concerns about the ZDI people running it for you?
Actually, I don't see any problem here, but if I can reset in the profile and see if I can make it faster.
Next up, the fluoroacetate duo returned for their second event of the competition.
All right. Let me know when you're ready, Abdul. Ready. Wait.
This time, they had their sights set on Adobe Reader. In one of the most impressive displays of the competition, they leveraged used after free bugs in Reader and the Windows kernel to escalate the system. All it took was opening a PDF file and the entire system was compromised.
Nice. Wow.
Wow. Very good.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Very nice.
Good job.
This impressive display earned them $50,000 and 5 more points towards Master of Pwn.
Waiting for the command shell to pop is just...
That's a little nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, very nerve-wracking. It's always those moments in Pwn2OWN that you never forget.
In the final official entry of Pwn2OWN 2020, the Synactive team targeted the VMware workstation with the guest-to-host escape.
Come on. Ah!
All right.
Unfortunately, they couldn't successfully demonstrate their exploit in the allotted time. However, upon disclosure, we did find the bug to be valid and purged it through the regular ZDI program. We hope to see more from these researchers in the future. For a special bonus, ZDI's own Lucas Leong demonstrated a guest-to-host escape in Oracle VirtualBox. He leveraged an OOB read for an info leak and a use after free bug for code execution. You can watch a video of the demonstration over on our YouTube channel. And that allows us to award our Master of Pwn. It was a tighter race than previous years, but Richard Zhu and Amat Kama of fluoroacetate were again crowned the Master of Pwn. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing more of you in the future.
Amazing feeling. When we first started out, we never could have imagined that we could get Master of Pwn. So it's a big honor.
That's great. Talk me through your last exploit a little bit. So that's kind of a scary one from like especially consumer perspective, because you open a PDF and it takes over your entire system, right?
Yes, and everybody uses Adobe PDF Reader, basically.
Right.
This type of attack has serious consequences. And especially since that the attack also happens so quickly, like you cannot react to it. Adobe Reader, it's used by so many people, so many companies, and that makes them all vulnerable to potential exploits, right? So we want to be able to help them fix the software, fix the bugs, and have a safer PDF opening experience.
How was it going virtual?
I guess it's easier to do it virtual, but it's more fun to be there in place, when you're there on site.
I'm actually very impressed that everything is so smoothly. There's no network issues, no connectivity issues.
I hope you saw the tweet, custom hockey jerseys for Master of Pwn.
Awesome.
You've gotten jackets before. Was there a favorite Master of Pwn jacket sort of swag that you go, oh, that one was really great?
All of the jackets are obviously outstanding. One of the ones that stood out was the PWN2OWN Vancouver last year. We had the full racing suit.
The racing suit, yeah, that was pretty good.
That was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
We wanted to be sure to thank everyone who participated in this year's competition. There were definitely obstacles, but everyone was accommodating and worked with us to make PWN2OWN 2020 happen. We wanted to thank the participants for trusting us with their research and allowing us to run each attempt. We wanted to thank vendors like Microsoft, VMware, Apple, Adobe, and Canonical for dialing in throughout the disclosure process. And special thanks go out to our partners Microsoft and Tesla and sponsor VMware for their continued support and assistance before and during the contest.
So what are your first impressions of having the first virtual PWN2OWN complete?
I mean, for me, it's a great relief. There was a lot of stress coming into the competition because of all the changes that were going on. And, we sat down before the event and kind of tried to think of all the different variables that we could control to make sure that, we would have researchers, from all around the world, plus vendors, plus the team spread out and all the different, contingency plans we need to put in place to actually make this thing successful. And now we're here at the end of the contest, and everything went really smoothly, and I'm quite proud of the team for everything that they pulled off.
So getting to the contest itself, day one, I know I have my personal favorite bug. What were some highlights of the research demonstrated that y'all will talk about?
I always love JIT vulnerabilities. That's no secret or surprise because I've done a lot of work in that area. I've done presentations, I've found JIT bugs of my own. So the first attempt from day one, the fact that it starts off the whole competition with a JIT vulnerability, I absolutely love that. Especially since JIT bugs are getting harder to find in Safari, and it's glorious.
I personally like the escalations. All three escalations that were demonstrated the first day were pretty good, very solid. The Ubuntu one was surprisingly fast and reliable.
It shows that they really put in a lot of effort into making sure that when they were running, that they would actually pop the root shell or the system shell. It's something that especially when we have new contestants like Manfred Paul coming into the contest and showing something so unique and so interesting. I think it really brings light. There's a lot of people out there who would like to be involved in this remote aspect that allows them to do that.
Then moving into day two, we started off with a bit of drama. We got it on the third attempt for the Oracle VirtualBox. That was cool. And then again, to me, the highlight of the most realistic, you open a PDF, you get totally owned. That was a great bug.
Yeah, that was awesome. And frankly, that's probably one of the best exploits for me specifically from day one and day two. I mean, we haven't been seeing, reader exploits the past couple of years coming through PWN2OWN specifically. So this one was kind of nice to have. Plus, it was super reliable.
It's kind of unexpected that bug is there. And the fact that you can go from just a PDF, opening a PDF to kernel level code execution, especially if you were to tie that in with either the VM escapes, that becomes even more impactful.
Okay, so thinking ahead, are we going to stay all virtual, or are we going to end up back in Vancouver next year? Predictions.
My prediction is I hope that we are back in Vancouver next year, that we're past all this stuff. But I think we're going to look at virtual as something that we're going to try to continue to do. I mean, it opens up the playing field a little bit. It allows us to get people who aren't willing to travel or who are unable to travel for visa reasons. This has really allowed us to kind of test those out and figure out what's going on.
I miss being in Vancouver this week, so hopefully we can be back there next year.
For me, I'm just happy that it's over and everything went really, really well. So a lot of stress going on with all the changes. So it's good that it went well.
That brings PWN2OWN 2020 to a close. It's been a great contest. We hope to see you this fall as PWN2OWN returns to Tokyo. See you then.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to PWN2OWN Tokyo for 2020. I am Dustin Childs, and I will be joined very shortly by Brian Gorentz, who is the director of the Zero Day Initiative, as well as a few other projects here within Trend Micro. And we'll talk a little about the program itself. So if we could get Brian to join me, please.
How's it going? How's it going, Dustin?
We had our first demonstration of the day. That was a success, and it was just confirmed, correct?
Yeah, it was just confirmed. The guys in the Toronto office have gone through the exploit with Star Labs. We've verified that, in fact, it is a zero-day vulnerability, at least to us. And so we've now started to go through the disclosure process, get the vulnerability over to the vendors so that they can work on a remediation. And at the same time, we'll be working here at Trend Micro to develop a virtual patch for this specific vulnerability that we can ship in our product lines to protect our customers.
Great. So let's kind of take a look at that for people who might not be familiar with PWN2OWN at all. So that what does that process look like? So the contestants come in and they run a successful demonstration. What's the next step of that?
Yeah, so what we do is we end up going back into the disclosure room and we sit down with the contestant. We look at the write-up that they've provided us and we go through all of the details related to the vulnerability. So we look at how the vulnerability triggers, the different exploit techniques that they may be using to exploit that vulnerability. And we actually take it apart and we verify that it and compare it against to the vulnerabilities that we have in our database here at the Zero Day Initiative. As everybody knows, we're the world's largest vendor agnostic bug bounty program. So we buy a lot of vulnerabilities from researchers around the world. So it's possible that there could be a collision in the case where the researcher brings a vulnerability to PWN2OWN that we're already aware of. And according to the rules of PWN2OWN, to have a full win at the contest, you need to actually have a true zero day. So as a result, we compare these details to what we know about our stuff already, and we're actually able to verify that in fact it is a true zero day according to us. Now, once we've gone through this process of validating the vulnerability on our side, we actually typically will bring in the vendor and they will go through a deduplication check as well and verify that they also, in fact, are not aware of the vulnerability. So, and once we've gone through the process of verifying on our side and the vendor has also verified that it's not a duplicate on their side, then we label the actual attempt a full win, which is in case what happened here with Star Labs for their very first attempt.
That's great. And if I remember correctly, that's $5,000 they won and 1 point towards Master of Phone.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the origins of PWN2OWN. Yeah, starting off strong. Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about starting off just in general. Let's talk about the origins of PWN2OWN Tokyo, because PWN2OWN in Vancouver had been going on since 2007, but the mobile version of PWN2OWN didn't start until later. Take us through kind of the origins of setting up a second PWN2OWN contest.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because when I took over the program, we had been starting to work with Dragos on actually developing a mobile version of the contest. And in fact, the first time we ran PWN2OWN Tokyo, which used to be called Mobile PWN2OWN, we actually did it at PACSEC West in Amsterdam. And I remember there was the first time I had run the event and we had gone through the process of acquiring all the equipment and launching the contest and having to ship all of this stuff around to actually make a successful attempt or a successful contest at PACSEC West. And it was quite challenging for us because for me it was the first time I had run the event. But once we kind of got the understanding of how the contest works and how to best bring out some of the best research in the world, we shifted the contest over to Tokyo and aligned it with PACSEC and Dragos at CanSec West, and we continued there for until COVID happened. So this is kind of the first time we haven't really been able to run the contest in Tokyo.
Yeah. And now I know you talked about some problems logistically setting up some stuff. I know we had some interesting times with the logistics of this, especially when it comes to acquiring network-attached storage servers, specifically Synology. Can you run us through, for the people watching, the fun times of trying to acquire all these devices and ending up with a few things we didn't expect?
Yeah, so at the contest, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have enough equipment so we are able to run attempts on clean hardware for contestants. And what that means is, like, you'll see on the PWN2OWN announcement, all of this equipment that is up for as targets, and we actually buy multiple versions of each one of those equipment. So we have like 8 routers this year just for the TP-Link. And so we're purchasing a lot of equipment from all over the internet. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. Sometimes it gets lost in shipping, or like this year, we ordered a bunch of Synology NAS devices off of a third-party reseller. And what showed up at the office definitely was not Synology NASs. When we got the package, Vincent was actually in the office, and it was clearly smaller than what you would expect a NAS to be. So we did actually a live unboxing of this equipment, and it turned out to be a bunch of jewelry shipped to us instead of the NAS. And so we're still trying to figure out exactly where those NASs went.
And it was costume jewelry, right? Not even the good stuff.
Yeah, not even the good stuff. I mean, we paid a lot of money for those Synology NASs, and we got costume jewelry. So.
And just to be clear, that was through a reseller. That's not Synology's fault.
No, definitely not Synology's fault. Yeah, we have to. We go and buy as much of the hardware that we can, and we ship it all over the world. We ship it over to, in this case, to Toronto this year, and so we had to all of it had to go through customs and all of that paperwork that has to be filed to make sure that we get it up there correctly.
Yes, yes. I know we had our laptops delayed in customs for a while this year too, but they managed to squeak in just in time. Let's talk about the NAS servers. Why was the decision made to include NAS servers this year in the contest?
Yeah, we wanted to look at this contest. We saw what happened in March with COVID-19, and we know that enterprises are kind of moving to this remote workforce, right? And so a lot of people now are trying to outfit their home offices with with equipment to make sure that they can be as productive as possible, and that obviously introduces a very interesting attack surface to a person trying to break into a person's home office. And so this year we included network attached storage. We actually included some of the most popular home routers into the contest, televisions and things like that. I mean, right now, for example, I'm streaming this actual contest on one of the TVs that's in the actual event. So we have, there's a lot of new equipment coming out, and a lot of people are trying to outfit their home office, and that attack surface needs to be tested. And so I think what you're seeing this year is you're seeing the researchers kind of looking at that attack surface. And obviously this is one of the biggest events that we've ran for the PWN2OWN Tokyo Live from Toronto version of this contest. And so we're quite excited to see all of the interesting attacks that come in this year.
Yeah, I'm interested in it as well. And I mentioned it in the opening. I own a Synology, so I really, and have owned it for a while. So I'm really curious to see what happens with that. Now, when it comes to dealing with those vendors, we had a couple of vendors update right before the contest. So we had Western Digital put out a major version updates a week or two ago, and then TP-Link had an update earlier this week. That really hurts a lot of contestants. How many would you say dropped because of those updates?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's one of the aspects of the contest that most people don't know about, is that typically right before a PWN2OWN contest, all of the vendors update the equipment. And so, like we talked about, TP-Link updated their home router yesterday, right before the actual contest. And it actually affects the contestants. They have to prepare their exploit and bring research to the competition. And then what happens, because we're testing against the latest and greatest version of the actual device, when that patch is applied, sometimes the exploits get killed. And as a result, the entry is removed from the contest. And that, the 2 patches that happened from Western Digital and from TP-Link this year actually, resulted in multiple people having to drop their attempt or modify their attempt to adjust to the new attack surface that exists. And you'll notice that we do have entries in both of those. So they were successful at finding new vulnerabilities and writing new exploits against the latest versions of them. And we'll see if they're successful actually at the contest. That's kind of the exciting part about PWN2OWN, is it happens almost at every single event, an update that comes out that modifies an exploit, and then as a result, the researchers here at ZDI are up all night updating all devices, and the researchers who are participating in the contest are adjusting their exploits on the fly. So it's quite an entertaining show that's outside of what people see on this stream.
Yeah. What are your expectations for the rest of the contest? What do you think we're going to see as we go throughout today and then in tomorrow and then on into Saturday?
Yeah, so I think, we look at the contest this year, I think we'll see a lot of successes, I hope. I mean, that's obviously, we want to buy all of the vulnerabilities that come to the actual contest. We're expecting to see, there's always some sort of drama that happens within the contest, right? So order matters based off of the random draw. Because that will result in possible collisions occurring in vulnerability. So you may see some entries be duplicates of other entries, and what that means is that a vulnerability in that entry was used by a previous contestant. And we usually will call that kind of a partial win at the contest, just depending on how many vulnerabilities are duplicates and the types of exploit techniques that they use. What we may see people use some end-day vulnerabilities in the contest. We normally, the rules require you to use a 0-day, but one of the challenges we have with IoT is, and some of this home automation equipment, is that even though the device is fully updated, some of the libraries and software components that are inside of these devices are actually not fully patched. And so we've actually this year introduced the ability for researchers to use an end date, but it will result in either a reduced price package or some sort of partial win. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting to see at the contest, and we may and hopefully we'll see a lot of wins. That's obviously what we want.
Yeah, we always want a lot of wins. Speaking of which, what has been the response from a lot of the vendors when it comes to seeing a lot of wins, or just the inclusion of in Pwn2OWN at all? How are the vendors reacting to this?
Yes, I mean, in each industry is kind of different. Like if we look at the Pwn2OWN contest that we run in March, Microsoft and Google and Apple and these types of companies are aware of how this process works. So they're very much involved in the actual event and sponsor the event. As we move into some of the home automation and the IoT world, a lot of these vendors are new to this type of contest, and so they're getting used to working with us in the 0-day initiative program. We try to ensure that they get the best possible research out of the contest. And we did get a little bit of pushback from some of the vendors when we included them in the contest, and that does happen from time to time. But ultimately, what we're trying to do is bring out some of the best research in the world, make sure that the vendor has enough detail so that they can fix the vulnerabilities that are being uncovered, and releasing patches using the process that we do use for coordinated vulnerability disclosure.
Cool, very cool. Well, I'm really excited about the event. I'm excited because we're streaming it live over the 3 days. People get a look into it that they normally wouldn't have. I think that's really intriguing. I want to thank you for your time, Brian. And I know Abdul and Vincent are probably looking for you right now with a bunch of other questions about stuff that we need to resolve. So I'll let you go. And the next attempt is coming up at noon. So if you want to hang around, we got some more videos from previous Pwn2OWNs to watch, as well as exploit demonstration videos. You can check those out. And once again, Brian, thanks for your time. And I'll see you on the Zoom calls behind the scenes.
Yeah, talk soon, Dustin.
All right, cool. Thanks all.
you.